Hello, everybody. I am Nicole Atniff, and I'm so excited, as always, that you guys are here to chat with y'all about one of the topics in the Back to Basics Bootcamp that we are doing. As always, if you have not yet watched the introduction video, be sure to start there. Other than that, the 8 fundamentals of this program you can watch in any order. I suggest watching a strong why first and then finishing with systems, because systems is going to have to do with everything you learn throughout the program, but everything else can totally go out of order because they're all equally as important and you're going to do things at different times and excel in different things and all that jazz. So today our topic is leadership. So first and foremost, I want to make sure that I explain this when it comes to the definition of leadership, okay? Leadership is not the same thing as sponsoring. It is 2 very different things. Sponsoring, which a lot of people like to call recruiting, and I tend to personally hate that word, sponsoring. It is the act of going out and getting new teamies to join your team, okay? Who are sponsoring people. Now, some people might think that sponsoring has to do with leading too, but I look at it as 2 very different things. I look at it as 2 very different fundamentals, because there's plenty of people who go out and they sponsor, but they don't also lead. And I think that's cruel. I think that's mean, to be totally honest. I think that they do go hand in hand, and you can't have one without having the other, but I think it's important to break those down separately. Okay. So for purposes of this video, sponsoring is going out and finding new people. Leadership, which is what we're talking about today, is leading your team, investing in your team, helping them to be successful and the best with it that they possibly can. Okay. When it comes to leadership, you have to remember, though, that they are independent consultants. The people on your team are independent consultants. And there's 2 important facts about that. Number 1, it is not your job to do their job for them, but it is also not your job to be their boss. Okay. So for starters, it's not your job to do their job for them. They are independent consultants. They joined this company. It is their responsibility to be successful, to find trainings, to invest in further education, to make their own samples, to pay for their own things, to show up to events without you trying to force them to show up to events. They need to show up to the Zoom calls if they want to show up to the Zoom calls. It is their business. It is their business, okay? When it comes to launch parties, even, I personally do not believe in doing their launch party for them. I think it is important to help your team to do their launch party, but I don't think you should do it for them, because I think it gives them a false sense of what the road ahead will look like, right? It's okay to help them. And you might be hearing this going, yeah, but like, they're brand new. They have no idea what they're doing. There's a difference between helping them and helping to show them how to do it, showing them, versus doing it for them. So that what happens after their launch party? You're going to continue to do their business for them? No. So that's kind of the way I kind of look at it. Okay. There is a lot of times in leadership with also conversations that I have. I need to make sure I sit back, because the other video that I recorded that I'm too lazy to re-record, I noticed that there was like a shining light on my forehead because the sun doesn't shine in the winter in Tennessee. So sorry. I have talked to a lot of friends in leadership, and one of the things that they will say, and I will hear people a lot, and I've even said this, is like, I'm having such a hard time having my team show up for things. Guess what? If you build it, they should come. And if they don't, that's on them. It is what it is. I don't try to be mean when I say that, but they are independent consultants, and I will beat that dead horse as many times as I need to. It is not your responsibility. It is not your burden if they are not doing what they need to do in this business to become successful. That should not be part of your mental health status at all. I have spent a lot of time in the past as an early consultant dwelling over the things that I could not control. And I have been this close to earning certain annual awards. And I mean, I am right now, I am this close to earning level 3 of our next incentive. And I have multiple people this close to certifying. If they don't, That's okay. I'm okay with that. Is it frustrating that literally one of the girls is 28 cents away and I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh. But old me would have been frustrated because I wasn't going to get those points. New me is frustrated because I want that girl to get this promotion for her. I want her to experience this. And that's where the mindset has to shift. Okay. You need to protect your mental health in everything in this business. We have all been through a lot over the past few years. You'll hear me mention that a lot throughout this program. What does a post-pandemic Scentsy look like? Do we do things different? Do we party different? Do we lead different? No. When it comes to leadership, I don't think you need to lead any differently than you did beforehand. Are you going to have different struggles? Are you going to have different challenges? Fine. Yes, maybe. But I think leadership still looks the same. And what it boils down to is your responsibility as a leader. What does that look like? What does that look like to you? It's going to look like something different for everybody. In my opinion, though, the most important thing you can do is be there to support your team and to love on them, to guide them as much as you possibly can without doing it for them, and to support them. My leader, Amanda, I talk with her about this all the time. And I tell her, I say, you know, when I joined, she didn't do a bunch of programs and frilly, fluffy things. I didn't need that. I didn't need that. She taught me how to be self-reliant. And I went out and I found the videos and I took it upon myself to do more. And she referred me back to the first things first checklist. When I would message her and I would ask her questions, she answered me. She didn't make a bunch of fluff with it. She just answered me and she loved on me and she supported me and she cheered me on and she celebrated me. And that was what I believe was the most important and the best thing that could have happened to me with a sponsor. So keep that in mind. Everybody is going to have a different experience when it comes to their upline. How do you want your upline to look at you, or your downline? How do you want your downline to look at you as their upline? Down the road, how do you want to be viewed? It's kind of like when you have kids, right? Like, how are my kids going to think of me 10, 20, 30 years down the road? They're going to say I'm a good mom. They're going to say I'm the crazy mom. Was I the helicopter mom, the chill mom, the mom that let people have parties, the strict mom? Like, you know, think about your friends in high school. Everybody had a title. What are you going to be as an upline? Most importantly, you need to be there to love on them, okay? But it is not your responsibility to do their job for them. So stop that right now if you're doing it. It's an order. But for real, seriously, stop it. Like, don't do it, okay? In addition to that, on the other side of things, that I think I use this hand, it's also not your right or your place to be their boss. And that is something else that I have seen in this business quite a bit. And above all else, that was something I said, and I've always verbalized to my team that I promised them I was never going to do. I'm not their boss. That's why we joined this business. A lot of people join this business because they don't want a boss anymore. They don't want the 9-to-5 structured. You have to come here. You have to do this. The guilt trips if you miss it, you know, a day of work because it's snowing outside. You know, those types of things stick with me from my previous like real job. The things that the stress, and I'm like, why? Oh, that's, you know, why did you make me drive in when there was a foot of snow with ice underneath of it? Guess what? That's one of the benefits of joining Scentsy is you don't have those types of things anymore. So don't be the upline that does that. Don't be the upline that makes them feel guilty. Don't be the upline that makes them feel bad. Don't guilt trip them. Don't put pressure on them. Support them. Hear them. Listen to them. There is some people in this business who take the no excuses, like bust the excuses out approach, and there are times when I do that. So I think you got to have a little bit of that, but at the same time, you also have to be the person that listens. The argument about the dip and all that jazz, it keeps going back and forth. Are we in a dip? Is the dip happening because people just aren't working? You know, it's going to be different for everybody. Everybody's going to have a different opinion on that. But my job as my team's leader is just to listen to them, to love on them, and to support them, because whether my opinion is that maybe they could show up more, I don't know what's happening in their home life. I don't know what's going on with them and their kids and their other job and their mental health and self-care. I don't know any of those types of things. So it's not my job and it's not my place to put pressure on them. So if you, in my opinion, keep the mentality of supporting them, being Switzerland, being the neutral party to love on your team, things will fall into place in the way that they're supposed to. One of my favorite trainings that I've ever heard on leadership, I heard this past summer by Jennifer Anderson. I mentioned it in the introduction video, and I'm going to touch on that just a little bit. And then later on in this program, once I get all of the videos completed, we're going to have like some roundtable chats and some other videos that are going to be shared underneath of the guides for you to go back and to access and reference. And one of them that I'm going to include is this one from Jennifer Anderson. And it was this summer in Salt Lake City at SFR. Excuse me. And it was about knowing the way, going the way, and showing the way. She always has such a great way of just simplifying things, and whatever she says just makes sense in my brain. And those 3 words, and remembering to do those 3 words when it comes to leadership, is so spot on of the way that I completely agree with her that that's the way you should look at leadership. So I'm going to completely paraphrase, but just to kind of give you just a little recap and add on to that a little bit. One of the things she says is about knowing the way. So you have to educate yourself, okay? As a leader, it is your responsibility to understand the compensation plan and to understand compliance. Now, you don't have to be an expert. None of us are. Things change. I am terrible at the reporting tab. I still go to my sponsor and I'm like, Amanda, how do I get this? Guess what? I'm bad at math. It's never going to change, but I'm trying the best that I can. Finding those good trainings, watching the trainings yourself. I think it is so important to always continue to watch trainings, no matter how long you've been a consultant. Never, ever think you are above furthering your education in Scentsy, ever. I don't care if you have been in this business for 15 years. I don't care if you came from another business, another direct sales company, and you were the top sales consultant there. It doesn't matter. You should always, always, always continue to educate yourself. Watch trainings, watch your favorite trainings time and time again. I know I need to do follow-up, for example. I suck at it. I'm terrible at it. I waste hundreds of dollars a year on follow-up by sending out catalogs and samples every single season and not even reaching out to any of them and going, hey, did you get it? What'd you think about that scent? It's awful, right? I will watch the same training over and over again. If I find a handful of people that resonate with me, that they speak to me, I feel like when I'm listening to them and it just clicks in my brain. There are certain people and certain videos in this company that I have watched 5, 6, probably 7 times. Are you busy? Okay. Turn it on when you're driving to the grocery store. Press pause, go in grocery shop and watch it on the way home, or put in some earbuds. And if you can't multitask like that, I physically cannot listen to something and focus on something else. Take a shower. Put it on. I bring my phone into the shower with me and I have a training on in there. I would say 25% of the time, because sometimes, you just got to turn it all off. But when I shower, I'm watching one of you. Isn't that creepy? And oh my God, maybe that's kind of weird, but it's true. I watch Kris Jenner's masterclass. I talked about that in another one of my trainings. I watch her masterclass when I'm in the shower and I'm shampooing. Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's time that I have to myself that I can focus. And to me, I get enjoyment out of doing it because I like learning. You should enjoy it too. You can get new tips and tricks or visit old ones, but continue to know the best way to do things in this business. And you're not going to know everything. Okay. You're not going to know everything. That's okay. Join the groups, watch what other people are doing, ask for advice, talk to your upline, talk to me if I am your upline, talk to your sponsor, connect with other people in the community. Hey, what are you doing? What's working for you with parties right now? Whatever it is, just continue to do that. Okay. Show the way. So, well, actually, let me go the way first. So go the way, again, relating back to Jennifer's speech, you have to do it yourself. And the biggest comparison that I make with my team about this is sponsoring. Our team as a whole, we have not sponsored. We've gotten away from sponsoring. We just haven't sponsored that much. We've sponsored some, but nowhere like we were in the first few years as a company. I got away from sponsoring though. I stopped sponsoring. I earned annual mentor the first 2 years as a consultant. So 2019 and then 2020. Haven't earned it since. Missed it last year. Getting a little closer this year. Starting to kind of get closer. Last year I was like miles and miles and miles away because I stopped sponsoring. I stopped doing it. I got burned out on sponsoring because I was doing all the things earlier that I mentioned, not protecting my mental health. I was letting leadership suck the life out of me. I got away from it. But if I'm not doing it, why would my team do it? If I'm not partying, why would my team party? I need to party. Do I need to party the same way that I used to? No. But is partying part of the basics, part of the fundamentals, part of what we have to get back to of who makes us, what makes us in this company? Yes, it is. Because I wouldn't know any of those people. There's I would say 75% of the people on my team I know because of a party in some way or another. A connection that led to another connection that led to another connection. But if I'm not doing it, why would they be doing it? Right? So you can think about that in everything in this business. You have to be doing it yourself in order for your team to do it as well. And then show the way. So you got to just show it. You got to share it. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't even really have to be organized. And that's something that's very tough for me because I like need that organization. And like, I like making pretty things, but that's also because it like helps to organize my brain. I feel like, you know, I never really knew what route to take with my VIP page that I want to do, or with my team page. Do I want to do albums and album headers? And no, that's too much, you know, all that type of stuff. I focused so much on, was it perfect, that I stopped sharing, that I stopped just posting about it. Got to get back to that. Just share. If you don't have a group page, how are you connecting with your team on a regular basis? How are you shouting them out? If you don't do team mail, that's fine, but how are you celebrating them? And just posing a food for thought here, how are you celebrating them publicly? Because if you are celebrating them by sending them a message, by sending them a postcard, whatever it is, however it is that you reach out to them, that's wonderful. But how do all the other people on your team know or learn how to celebrate their team if they're not watching the celebration happen? So how do you show the way? How do you show the way? You have to remember to keep that as one of the 3 parts in the back of your brain, because you can do 2 of them, but if you don't show the way, if you don't do the other one, then they don't all work together. I mentioned this to my team on a live that I did earlier. So if you're part of the Bomb Squad watching this, I'm going to reiterate it again, and I'll say it again. Love you, mean it, but it's the cold hard truth. If you are utilizing your uplines group or team page as your primary source of contact or way to connect with your team, then you need to be contributing consistently. Vice versa. If someone in your downline is utilizing your team page or your group page to communicate with their team, they need to be contributing. Do they have to use your team page? No, they don't. That's totally fine. Personally, for me, would I love for them to use it? Absolutely, because that's one of the reasons that I feel like our team has such a great culture. But I also notice that our culture starts to kind of dwindle when everybody stops sharing. And if it's just me sharing all the time, that happiness bubble that we like to have, that sticky culture, it starts to go away if we're not connecting enough. And in a lot of ways, the ways that we tend to connect is by people sharing things. I had a teammie share something in our bigger group page yesterday, and tons of people came out of the woodwork commenting. It's nice to see a different face. My sponsor and I, is also my SSD, we talk all the time, and we're like, we need more people to share things, you know, and how can we encourage people to do that? But it's very basic. Just remember that. Nicely try to drive this home. And again, if you're on the Bomb Squad, you know, I've already said this in another training, and I'm just going to say it again. If you are utilizing that team page as your primary source of contact, help out, support. You're showing the way by contributing to that page. I notice when I start doing specific shout outs, other people on my team will do shout outs. I notice that when I start doing something, someone else will share. And the days that I don't share, it doesn't happen as much. That's not always the case. Sometimes people will just share just for the heck of it. But you need to reiterate to your team that their ideas are wonderful, that their ideas are wanted to be heard. My team, when you're watching this, please know I want your ideas to be heard. They are good ideas. Don't ever think, oh, no one wants to hear from me because it's just like a party I had. No, we want to hear it. We want to hear it even if we've heard it 1,000 times, because if you heard what I said a few minutes ago, I watch trainings 6, 7 times. I'll watch them over and over and over again just because I need someone to tell me to do follow-up. I know I need to do it, but I need someone to tell me. So share, make it a safe place for people to share. And if it's not in your VIP page and it's not in your group page and it's somewhere else, if you don't have it on Facebook, where are you building that community? Where can you show how to lead? Is it a group message? Okay, that's fine. Personally, that's not the way I would do it, but if it works for you, run with it. You just have to think about those 3 key things that Jennifer said, though. Can you know, show, and go the way in a group message? Are you showing? Are people who don't check that daily? I know with me, I despise group messages. I only have a couple that I am in that I enjoy with a group of girls. The other ones, I'm like, no, I can't. It's just too much. I mean, I have like 54 unread text messages because I just parking lot it. I'm like, no. But you have to think about that. There are going to be people on your team who don't look at a group page, who don't look at a VIP or a team page on Facebook, who don't get on Facebook at all. How are you connecting? How are you building that sticky culture? How are you showing them how to be a good consultant? Okay. That's it, guys. That's it. It's short, it's sweet, pretty basic foundation. Like I said, I am going to link Jennifer's video back because she said it much more eloquently than I did, but it just stuck with me. It's been one of the biggest things in this company that I have heard that I've been like it just made sense. It doesn't have to be difficult. You don't have to overcomplicate it. You can get back to basics and just focus on those 3 things inside of leadership and be an incredible, amazing leader while you just focus on loving on your team. Okay. Thank y'all. Talk to you guys soon. We're knocking these out. I don't know how many I've done so far, but there's going to be more coming if you're watching these in order of the time that I'm posting them. But as a reminder, there's going to be 8 core fundamentals listed in the stuck checklist that is going to be in the guides of our group. That's the breakdown of the video. And there is an introduction video as well that I'd love for you to watch. And then in addition to that, we've got some roundtable chats and some additional trainings coming up just to dive deeper into each one of these topics. So love you all. Talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful day. Bye.